So I'm sure you guys heard about Trudeau's comment about construction workers the other day when he was at the G20 summit trying to legitimize his stupid gender lens feminist policy bullshit that he does. But, I'll read you the comment. He's like, you might say, what does a gender lens have to do with building this new highway or this new pipeline? Absolutely nothing. Well, there are impacts when you bring construction workers into a rural area. There are social impacts because they are mostly male construction workers. How are you adjusting or adapting to those impacts, right? So, it's funny to me that he's willing to insinuate that male construction workers bring some sort of negative impact to rural communities, and he needs to spend money doing studies, looking at it through a gender lens, and looking at the impacts that these people are going to have on the community and whatnot, maybe the crime that they're going to bring. And it's really funny to me that he's willing to do studies on his own Canadian citizens, the male construction workers, who, obviously most likely don't vote for him. He knows this. Most construction worker type people will not vote the left because they do hard work, and they don't want all their money taken away by some greedy liberals to be thrown away and given away to some, I don't know, women's and girls education fund in I don't know, sub-Saharan fucking Africa, right? No, we want to keep more of our own money for our own families and our own children and our own parents who eventually need our help once they get older. So it's like, what the fuck, But he's not going to do a study on the illegal aliens crossing into Canada and the social impact that they are going to have on our communities. He's not going to do a study on the global compact for migration and what that's going to do for our communities, and how they want 90% of our fucking population growth to be mainly immigration by 2050. Oh, what is that going to have on the community? Bringing all these people with different cultures, with different belief systems, a bunch of Muslims or whatever into your country. What social impact is that going to have? But he's not going to say that shit. He's not going to say anything because these people vote for him. He's not going to say anything about women because women mostly vote for him. Obviously, there are outliers. I know I have to say this every time because there's going to be somebody who's like, well, I'm a woman and I don't vote. Yes, I'm not talking about you. Okay, I'm talking about all the other women who are voting for them primarily, and the cuck men, white men that are voting for the left still. Somehow, I don't understand how white people still vote for the left, considering all of the anti-white rhetoric that is constantly being spewed at them, how people cheer and praise every time we hear that we're going to become a minority. People are like, oh, things are going to change soon, you're going to become a minority, and you're going to have to get used to your position in life, and it's only going to get worse for you in the future. And it's like, it's just so fucking angering to me that, he's willing to say this. He's willing to, demonize essentially construction workers who are, one of the main reasons we have a country, right? Houses need to be built, roads need to be built, all these things need to be done. But you're going to go and say, oh, well, we need to study the impacts. Right? What problems are there? Is there some massive issue with male construction workers going around raping women and stuff in rural towns? Not that I have heard of. We have a lot of other problems with illegal aliens, with terrorists coming in, giving them money and shit like Omar Kadar. We have plenty of other problems. We don't need to be spending money and looking at things through a gender lens on male construction workers, right? And it's frustrating because I am one of those people who is a male construction worker going into other towns and shit, towns I've never been to, little bumfuck towns all over the place in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, whatever. And, you know, you go there, you stay a few days, and you spend money in that town. You don't go and start assaulting people and all this shit, right? Like, that does not happen. You know, if anything, I'm more at risk sometimes. I had to go in this fucking reserve someplace and do work there. And the place that I was staying in, like, the people were very nice and stuff. But they're like, oh, just, if somebody tries opening your door, just put something in front of it, and if somebody, you know, if people start knocking on your door all drunk, don't worry, you know, like, you know, we're more at risk generally going into certain fucking towns, okay, other than us bringing the risk to them. And it's really annoying because, like, you know, they give us per diem like $50 a day for food generally when you go out of town, or 40 depending on where you work. And, you know, you spend that money in the community. You spend it on the local restaurants, bars, businesses, and you just help that town. You know, I came from a town, St. Lazare, and it's dying now. They're like, you know, they don't even have a fucking gas station anymore because it costs too much to repair it. They have to go to some other town to get it. You know, like, there's barely any businesses left, and they would love people coming through and spending money in that town to help it, you know, reinvigorate itself. But, you know, oh, Trudeau, it's bad, these male construction workers, you know, we got to do studies, and we got to do, this is why we have this gender lens whole thing in our government. It's to, you know, protect women. But this is just pandering to the women vote once again. He's going to pander to them while putting men down at the same time, because there's enough cuck men to be like, yeah, it's a good point. You're right. That's so true. But it's like, man, you're such a fucking retard. But there was this one girl, her one message went viral, and who was responding to this. And, you know, yeah, it was pretty touching and stuff, considering, you know, like, this just resonated with me a lot. But this girl, Sarah Michelle, who is in Grande Prairie, Alberta, and the funny thing is I'm actually going to Grande Prairie, Alberta in a few days to go visit some family. But she's like, Dear Justin Trudeau, I am a 26-year-old waitress who worked in one of the biggest oil field hubs in Alberta, Grande Prairie. I worked in a pub during the evenings. We were open 7 days a week. Pretty much every night we were packed with these construction workers, and she put in quotes, oil field lowlives. You know, she obviously doesn't think that. You want to know what kind of social impact they had on me? I am a female in this social setting you are referring to, after all. Because of these men, I was able to go grocery shopping and get everything on my list. I didn't have to stand at the checkout line and figure out what to put back. I was able to fill up my tank at the gas station, not just $20 to get by. I was able to live comfortably in an apartment knowing my bills were paid on time, and I wouldn't have to worry about choosing between the water or electric bill. I was one of the waitresses, cooks, drivers, hotels, grocery stores, local business owners, etc., who are impacted by these men. Every day when these men leave, we have to cut staff. We have to tell someone they can't help support their families. They have to tell their kids they can't afford extracurricular activities such as hockey, soccer, etc. Local business owners are then forced to close their doors. Shame on you for demonizing these men and women who take time away from their families to provide for them, for working 12-hour days only to go to a hotel room at night hoping to catch their kids before bedtime for a little FaceTime. You know, we're all not cut out for white-collar jobs, office jobs. They love what they do. They love getting their hands dirty. The job satisfaction is bar none. These men do this so that their families are taken care of, and in turn, that waitress, like me, can do the same. You know, she's like, I hope you read this so you know firsthand what kind of social impact the construction workers have on us women in rural areas. Oh, and by the way, these construction workers were also some of the most polite and well-mannered customers I served. So yeah, you know, this got thousands and thousands, 30,000 shares so far, you know, so that's great to see. You know, this is exactly what these people are bringing to the communities. They're not bringing violence or strife. I'm sure you can find some pinpoint a few times where they started some shit with some locals or something. Yeah, okay. Some stuff like that does happen, but generally they are good for these towns. And these people leaving and going to these places, they don't want to leave their families. A lot of them don't want to leave their wife and kids and shit and go to some in the middle of nowhere to live for 2-3 weeks or longer sometimes. Like, they don't want to do that. So then, to come in and be like, oh, well, we need to study this and see social impacts. It's just another slap in the face. But, this is Trudeau. He's used to doing it. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about us. All he cares about is everybody other than Canadians. He constantly virtue signals to the rest of the world, but, he just constantly neglects us. And it's because there's so many people who are just, like non-educated, uneducated idiots that either don't pay attention to what is going on, or they think we have infinite resources and money and all this shit to throw around all over the world to all these different countries, while we have, all these other problems happening in Canada right now. Like I said, with the oil fields, the people he's demonizing that are losing their jobs. 100,000 jobs have been lost in a couple of years in the oil sector. And, he's going to go around and demonize these people because he's like, hey, who cares? Not like they're going to vote for me anyway, so I can say whatever the fuck I want. But, this guy is a piece of shit, and, I don't really know what else to say about him. But that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.